So we found out about birth choice by me kind of being in the home comfort service industry. I've passed by here several times, and I've actually worked on the heating and cooling system here years ago. And so it just occurred to me one time to stop by. When Kaitlynn found out she was pregnant, I felt like all of my dreams were kind of crushed.
I think we put each other through a lot of verbal, emotional, physical abuse even. That's hard to say, but it's the truth.
I felt a lot of shame and guilt. Us getting pregnant and not being married, and just growing up in a home where we were in church every Sunday from the time I was born all the way up until I left the house. Even Kaitlynn's father was a pastor at one time. And so it was just worried about what other people would think, what family would think.
At that time, our plans for the pregnancy, of course, was abortion before we came to birth choice. I have written here, the enemy just had us completely convinced that eliminating the pregnancy would be for the best. And so in my mind, it was just like, how do I learn to love a baby? I don't even love myself. I found hope with birth choice, first of all, through all the beautiful women that poured their time and love into me, their encouragement into me. Again, I was struggling with my insecurities and doubts, becoming a mom, and they just made me feel like anew, like you can do this, you can, you're not alone, and you're so loved, you're so adored, and the baby is already so loved and so adored, and I just really felt accepted and loved. As soon as we walked in the door, there was no judgment. We had a past. We were in a toxic relationship, and it was just, all of that was overlooked. It was just so welcoming, and everybody here just reflected the love of God and encouraged us to do the right thing.
Mr. Talley kind of took me in for quite some time, and we discussed a lot of things really quick, and the conversations went pretty deep. He made me feel like at the time I wasn't in this alone.
When we saw our first ultrasound, I remember being in complete shock, of course, and when I saw the baby, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, wow, I actually have a little baby in me. It wasn't real until I saw it on the screen. I still remember his heart rate, 146. I also remember, I was like, I think it's a boy. I said that out loud too. We brought this little picture here, this little ultrasound picture. I mean, he's just itty bitty, you can barely tell, but anyways, it's a little... That's our first ultrasound of Patrick. So, he looks just like a little peanut,
So when I saw the first ultrasound, I felt mixed emotions. It's like the Holy Spirit spoke to me. You don't have a choice. This is your child. Jesus really transformed my life with this. When I really started seeking His face and, going, hey, what about me do I need to, take hold to and start working on? What kind of man I was toward Kaitlynn, and, what kind of father I wanted to be.
For me, I think God completely transformed my life when I became a mother. I think it started when I first saw him, on the ultrasound, but I really made a commitment when he was born.
When something like this happens, totally unexpected, and it's like the rubber hits the road with testing your faith. And so, I just thank God that our faith overpowered the darkness of the world trying to drag us down. When we came to birth choice, if I could pin it down to one thing they really helped us benefit from, was that you're not alone. There's people here to help you. There's people that have been through this, and there's people that are going through it.
We are a living, breathing testimony. Our marriage, our family, Like, that is something to shout out to the world.
You know, I think without birth choice, I think we would have went through with something that we would have regretted later. This is Patrick John Michael Mann Jr. and he is an absolute perfect child of God.
So we're 2 years old. What's some of your favorite things, Bubba? You like tractors?
Yes.
Tractors. We love animals. We love music and dancing. We love worship music. Man, he can get down to a Chris Tomlin song, let me tell you.